Hey everybody, and welcome back to Heated Shenanigans Podcast. I am your host, Scott. Unfortunately, no Colin today. Schedules just could not line up to get Colin in the studio to record today's episode with us. First and foremost, though, guys, I do want to wish everyone out there a very happy Super Bowl Sunday. We finally made it, the granddaddy of them all. Happened a little bit later today. Chiefs and Eagles, Super Bowl. Gonna be an exciting time. I know we're gonna be watching it later, which is why we wanted to get this video out to you guys as soon as possible. I know there's a lot going on this weekend. Also, if you guys have not been keeping up with us on social media, we have announced two, not one, but two amazing guests coming up to Heated Shenanigans Podcast. First and foremost being the WWE Hall of Famer, the Mac Militant, Teddy Long, going to be joining us on Heated Shenanigans Podcast. Also, former Impact Wrestling valet, ring announcer, manager, the lovely SoCal Val will be joining us March 11th, so stay tuned for that one. Got a lot of cool stuff coming up, guys. Getting ready to do some more giveaways, too. I love giving stuff away here on this channel. Like to be interactive, like to make sure people get some cool wrestling memorabilia for supporting the podcast, which, again, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Great free way to help out the channel, and we really do appreciate it. Like I said, got a lot of great stuff to give away, and we want to give it away to you guys. So, without further ado, today's podcast topic is going to be the Sami Zayn problem that WWE currently have themselves in. And I don't think this is going to end how most of us would like it to. You see, the Bloodline storyline with Sami Zayn has been just perfection. And it's quite possibly the greatest storyline WWE has done in several years. Quite possibly the greatest storyline in WWE history, and possibly of all time. Like, this has just been remarkable at every turn, and everybody involved has done a magnificent job. And here we sit just a few weeks away from WrestleMania 39, and a lot of people are wondering, will Sami Zayn become WWE champion? And I don't think he will. I don't. And it's sad. I really think he should. There's two belts, and we're going to get into all of that. But I mean, first and foremost, WWE's kind of backed themselves and booked themselves into a very ugly corner with this. I can safely say, I do not believe that when this all came about with the Bloodline storyline, they had no envision of Sami Zayn being the most over wrestler on the roster. This is Daniel Bryan level over, Kofi Mania level over. And you know what, Sami? Hell of a talent. He's been in WWE for several years. He has always delivered in the ring. His promos are fantastic. And in this Bloodline storyline, he's really turned up that character and really turned up the dial on what he can be. And I don't see it. I don't see Sami getting a title off of Roman before WrestleMania. But let's get into all of that. Excuse me. Because the number one issue that I see with this is the eventual ramifications it is going to have on Cody Rhodes. And what I mean by that, Cody has a great relationship with the fans. He is well received. He was the WWE selection to beat Roman Reigns. Then Sami Zayn happened. And Sami became the people's choice to beat Roman Reigns. And you can kind of see what's going to happen here once Cody beats Roman. Because I don't think at Elimination Chamber, I think something's going to happen, be it with Jay or another member of the Bloodline. I don't think Sami's not winning. They're not going to go into WrestleMania Sami versus Cody Rhodes for the undisputed titles. They're not going to go that route. So you have Cody Rhodes, who is the heir apparent to beating Roman Reigns, the historic run that Roman has been on. I think it'll be a good feel-good at WrestleMania. And then I think the turn's going to happen by the fans. because that's not the guy that they picked to beat Roman. That's not who they wanted. They wanted Sami to do that. And I think Sami is unfortunately going to get, and no disrespect to the WWE Tag Team titles, but Sami has outperformed the role that he was assigned to, just above and beyond. And I feel him and KO teaming up to beat the Usos at WrestleMania, which is presumably the direction that this will go. It kind of feels like a consolation prize after all of the hard work, after all of the character development, after all of the time, the money, the resources put into pushing the bloodline and getting Sami out of this. It feels like a gigantic consolation prize. I think Sami has earned the right to be one of the WWE champions. I mean, there's 2 belts. I mean, again, and this is being recorded before Elimination Chamber. There's some stuff that could happen a couple weeks from now. Everything I'm saying in this episode could be completely wrong. And Sami is booked into a title match for WrestleMania. But I don't think that's going to be the world we live in. And it's unfortunate because Sami Zayn is an incredible talent. And I understand Cody has dibsies on the WWE title. That was the one title that has eluded the Rhodes family, if you will, for many, many years. Dusty never won it. Dustin Rhodes, Goldust, never won it. Excuse me. Cody has yet to win it. Presumably winning at WrestleMania. You could still get Cody the feel-good moment, the accomplishment of bringing the gold and the restoring of the Rhodes family name in the WWE and having him become world champion, and still get Sami Zayn a world championship run as well, which would be a remarkable payoff to all of this. But again, we're running out of time to do that, and unless there is some major swerve coming up for this run with Sami and the bloodline, I think it's going to come to an unfortunate conclusion with his run-in with Roman, and Roman retaining. Now see, we get into this topic of Cody and Roman Reigns. First off, I want to say that was an incredible promo that Cody and Paul Heyman cut on Raw. It was a needed promo because of how behind the crowd is for Sami Zayn. But the one thing that I'm going to nitpick out of this, and I've felt this way ever since Cody's come back, it has never purely been about getting behind Cody Rhodes. There has been some element of Dusty's character and memory attached to Cody. And I get it. That was his father. One of the all-time best professional wrestlers of any era, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. However, Dusty can't win the WWE Championship. And I think continually going to that well and tying everything in with Dusty, that's getting the fans behind the memory of a fallen legend. They're not getting behind Cody Rhodes in the manner in which they're getting behind Sami Zayn. Sami has a much larger reach and a much deeper connection with the crowd because of everything that's transpired with the Bloodline storyline. And I feel like there's just only a finite amount of time between now and WrestleMania to get the crowd on Cody Rhodes' side fully. And I understand as long as Cody's in professional wrestling, there's going to be the tie-in to the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. That's fine. But at some point in this storyline, you've got to make this more about Cody Rhodes. And I don't see it. I don't see it. Like, the promo that Heyman cut, he did mention, this is about you, Cody. But then they go right into bringing up the stuff with Dusty, the legacy, saying Roman was the son that he always wanted, which was great heat. But they really keep going back to the well on the American Dream. And I really think they need to separate the two and get Cody more over with the fans, because at this point, it's very clear. Cody is not more over than Sami Zayn. I'm sorry, by any metric you look at it, Sami Zayn is the most over man in WWE, quite possibly the top babyface in all professional wrestling going on right now. And there's a lot of professional wrestling going on at this juncture. Which brings me to my Sami Zayn comparison. And I've said this on social media, and guys in the comments, again, we love when you guys interact with us. Let us know in the comments how you feel about this comparison, if you think this is spot on, too off base, maybe not just right. Let us know in the comments. I feel Sami Zayn is a modern day Mick Foley. And hear me out. Both at the time of this point in their careers, when they were getting ready to go for WWE Championship opportunities, immensely over with the crowd. Amazing promos. Could talk people into the building. If they never watched professional wrestling, they could reach out and pull you in and make you care. Both are not the poster boy for the WWE Championship. Recently, Sami was told, and it was brought up online, that Sami doesn't look the part to be the top guy in WWE. They said the same thing to Mick Foley. And look what happened when they let Foley get the shot with the title. Foley was already up here. He was already a top-level guy. It put him over the top. Because Foley knew how important it was to become WWE Champion. With Sami and with Mick Foley, ironically, in both situations, both are entwined with members of The Rock's family. Obviously, Mankind beating The Rock for the WWE Championship. Sami Zayn facing Roman Reigns, a descendant of the Dwayne Johnson family tree. But go back and think about when Shawn Michaels got his first run with the WWF title, then WWF title. Shawn at the time was not who was typically in that spotlight and with the World Championship. Shawn Michaels, by all accounts, was completely undersized. But Shawn could go out there and have a match with a broom, and it would be 5 stars. Incredibly charismatic, impeccable ring work. They took a risk and put the belt on Shawn Michaels. Now, granted, Shawn did go on to have one of the worst drawing runs as WWE Champion, which that wasn't entirely on Shawn's fault. There was a lot going on at the time. The Monday Night Wars, the NWO, very hard to compete against that. I don't care who you are. But if WWE would take the chance on the payoff with Sami Zayn, I really think Sami would surprise a lot of people, because Sami would really get to that point of being a top guy, being someone that you could go to with other main eventers. And make no mistake about it, WWE right now has an incredibly deep roster of main event level guys. Sami has the ability, if given the opportunity, and that's the big thing, he's got to be given the opportunity, because he's not going to get it, then we're not going to know. Sami gets that shot to prove he is a top-level guy by winning the championships. And I really think you're in for a much more comparable Mick Foley analogy, than what we had just discussed on this podcast. But I do think you run a severe risk of the crowd turning on Cody Rhodes and having Cody beat Roman for both titles. See, this is the other issue. you can't have two baby faces take the titles off of Roman on both nights of WrestleMania. From a psychology standpoint, it makes and it devalues the babyface win on night 2 for beating an already weakened Roman Reigns. That would be a heel move to have the heel cash in on a weakened babyface and get a title. If you took one of the titles off of Roman, I think you get a much more interesting storyline, because now Roman is in full-fledged panic mode. He's lost one of his titles. He's going against an opponent in Cody Rhodes, who is very capable of taking the other title from him. And you could see Roman descend into a much more out-of-control character. He's already been booked incredibly well. But imagine Roman's panic meter getting turned up to 10, having to defend that last title, that last piece to the island of relevancy that he has preached about all these years. If you took the title off of Roman, just one, at the Elimination Chamber, that does not devalue the pop or the moment that Cody Rhodes would receive. Because then at that point, the bloodline could do more to put obstacles in Cody's path to prevent him from beating Roman. Assuming they wouldn't go a different storyline and have Roman just snap on all members and everything comes crashing down. His Ozymandias, if you will. For the Breaking Bad viewers out there. Excuse me as I get a drink here. It's hard doing one of these by yourself. It's a lot easier when I have Colin here, because it's easier to get some water breaks in between while Colin makes his points. But the other important thing here to keep in mind with this Sami Zayn problem is, where do they go with Sami and Cody after WrestleMania? If everything goes as according to plan and Sami and Kevin Owens in the Usos Unified Tag Team Championship run, and Cody Rhodes goes on to defeat Roman Reigns and become the undisputed champion, let's look at the trajectory of all three men here. And we'll start with Roman. Roman will presumably get a rematch with Cody Rhodes at a later date. WrestleMania Backlash, he'll have to fight Cody again. It would just make too much sense to go a different route. It would make a lot of sense. I'm sorry. So Roman still keeps his spot at the top of the card. Excuse me. Sami truly would take what I would feel would be a demotion, just getting the tag titles out of this. Sami has outperformed his role. He is elevated to a different level, and I feel should be rewarded accordingly. So you have Sami Zayn drop back down to the upper mid-level of the roster in the depth chart. And all of that momentum would be squandered. Then you get Cody Rhodes. Cody beats Roman. And make no mistake, by all accounts, Cody beating Roman, Cody should have a hell of a long run. Because I have said it before, and I will restate it again. Roman's run with these titles, everything Roman has accomplished in the last couple of years, has made his title run the equivalent to when The Undertaker lost to Brock Lesnar. In that whoever beat Roman Reigns would be a made man at the top of the WWE. An instant star is made out of the individual who beats Roman Reigns, because they have ended the streak that he's been on defending the titles, doing something that Daniel Bryan couldn't do, Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar on multiple occasions, Edge, and the list goes on. That person is special. That person is a made main eventer. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. But the problem is, how long do they stay committed to Cody as champion? Especially if the crowd starts to turn on him after beating Roman, because eventually the fans, and they're all fickle, I'm just as guilty as everybody else. If the fans turn on Cody Rhodes and WWE panics and belts come off of Cody, I don't think you can't just shuffle them back to Sami Zayn somehow, because that window would have closed. That the special feeling that you would have had from Sami beating Roman, it can't be captured there, because somebody already did it. Cody Rhodes takes the titles, and who knows how long he runs with them. Who knows? Again, it would behoove WWE to have a long run with Cody, because you just had this monster long run. I don't like the trajectory of what happens to Sami Zayn after WrestleMania. I'm sorry. And again, this is being recorded before the Elimination Chamber, so a lot could happen. WrestleMania has yet to happen either night. There's a lot that could happen with WrestleMania. But I just get this feeling that Sami will not end up in the main event after this. Sami will still be in the mid. And again, beating the Usos for the Unified Tag Team Championships is not... It's not a small feat. It's nothing to scoff at, because they've had an incredible run with the tag team titles. And it would be a nice payoff to the Usos versus Sami if Jay does happen to turn on Sami and align himself fully with the bloodline. I just don't see it as being good booking for Sami in the absolute end of this. I feel Sami's got to beat Roman. I do. But I know there's a lot of chapters still left to be written in the Roman Reigns bloodline storyline with Sami Zayn. Who knows? Maybe it ends up being a triple threat and both titles are on the line. Sami gets the first pinfall. Cody can get the one when that really matters. Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of ways they can book it. I don't see that happening. That is very unrealistic to think that that's going to happen. But I do think that they need to go and give a different route of booking Cody against Roman Reigns, instead of being so pigeonholed into bringing up Dusty every freaking chance they get. I know I sound like a broken record. They have got to get the fans behind Cody Rhodes, not Dusty Rhodes. They need to separate them just long enough to get them behind him to go after the WWE Championships. It's going to be an incredible ride from here till WrestleMania, and I'm looking forward to it. But as far as the Sami Zayn storyline, I think the road with Roman ends at the Elimination Chamber for Sami. We're going to get the tag team title chase, which will probably end with KO and Sami getting the titles. It's a consolation prize in my opinion. Again, I don't mean that disrespectfully. Just what they could do with Sami is something special. Again, modern day Mick Foley, if you will. But in closing, I will say this. When it comes to good stories, and this has been one of the greats, if not the greatest, no one, whether you were a fan of Breaking Bad, Lost, or Dexter, all the good shows, you're always going to have a problem with how it ends the story. And I think this will not be any exception. So, guys, WWE's got a Sami Zayn problem. We got a couple weeks to see how they figure it out. What happens? Maybe they come to something that is a win-win, and they find some creative way to get one belt off of Roman to Sami, and then another belt that is essentially going to be going to Cody Rhodes. But again, guys, thank you so much for listening. Again, if you guys are new, returning, or haven't yet subscribed, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button. Really helps us out. It's a great free way, again, to help support the channel. And again, this is no hyperbole. When we get to 1,000 subscribers, there is going to be an incredible, monumental giveaway that we have sat on for a couple of months, and we are just itching to give this stuff away. And we're looking forward to it because we're getting closer, but we can't do it without you guys. Again, thank you so much, guys, for listening, taking time out of your day to making us a part of your day. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys on the next episode with Colin, talking about the Super Bowl and all the fallout from that, guys. Have a happy Super Bowl Sunday, and I will see you guys later.